Show me your hands now! Stand up and
walk towards us!
Air Clear's gonna go ahead and fly whenever any. Take it down 16.
What could possess a parent to take their own child's life? And just how twisted would they have to be to not only consider such a horror, but to plan it for months? This is the ongoing case of Chad Dowerman, father of 3, who executed his kids for no apparent reason. On a seemingly ordinary afternoon on the 15th of June 2023, police were called out to Claremont County, Ohio, following 2 911 calls from passerby who had been approached by a terrified girl on the road.
911, where's your emergency?
There's a girl running down the street saying that her stepfather is killing everyone in her family. It's on the corner of where there's a body shop and the fire department. Do you know what road this is?
Okay, what's your name?
Give it into the fire department.
What's your name?
Do you know what road this is? Laura Lindell Road.
You said what?
It's Laura Lindell Road.
Earlier that afternoon, Dowerman came home from work early and asked his wife to join him in the master bedroom for a nap with their 3 sons, Chase, Hunter, and Clayton. While his stepdaughter was in the next room watching TV, Dowerman suddenly took out a rifle and shot his 4-year-old Hunter twice in the head. The girl, who was just 12 years old, rushed in to find her mother trying to protect the injured son from Dowerman, who fought viciously and even bit his wife to get the boy. In a desperate move, his wife grabbed the rifle. This resulted in her being shot in the hand and forced to drop her son into Dowerman's line of fire.
Did you say how or what was happening?
I asked her to get in the car with me, and she said she couldn't leave her family.
While the mother fought for her little boy's life, the young girl told her remaining brothers to run as far as they could and fled the scene beside him. The 7-year-old Clayton made it 300 feet into a nearby field before being gunned down from behind by his father. Dowerman then went on for his stepdaughter, who was attempting to carry her last brother, 3-year-old Chase, to safety. When he caught up to him, he demanded she put him down and try to fire at him. Fortunately, his gun was jammed. Now separated, the last son ran back to the house where he was caught by Dowerman, while the stepdaughter escaped to the nearby fire department to seek help.
But I think she ran to the fire department.
So she went to the fire station. What did she look like? Did she say anything about a baby?
I don't know about no baby. She said she just couldn't leave her family.
Officers arrived on scene at approximately 4 p.m. to discover the shooter, 32-year-old Chad Dowerman, sitting calmly by the door. He's unresponsive to commands provided by law enforcement, and so the officers approached the home.
Show us your hands now! Stand up! Stand up! Stand up! Stand up now! Stand up! Stand the f*** up!
EMS to stage and Air Clear's gonna go ahead and fly whenever any units can advise.
Get your hands out of here. 72. Tell them we're 21. Send the air.
Upon inspection, the officers are confronted with a scene straight out of a horror movie. On the ground lies a mother, screaming beside her children's bodies while their father watches, utterly emotionless.
Man, I ain't trying to hurt nobody. I'm completely sober. Never did drugs
63,
in my
we're
life.
21. Get the EMS over here.
Dowerman's attitude is unnatural. Here he can be heard telling officers that he means no harm and has not consumed any alcohol or drugs. He assures them he's not insane and even kindly warns them about his dog.
Doing, man?
Hey, are you copying all this? Can I roll over? I ain't gonna hurt you. I ain't gonna hurt nobody.
You got anything on you?
No, I ain't got nothing, man. Phone, that's it. I ain't mad. I ain't nothing. Just make sure that dog don't come out. I don't think he'll bite you. Just don't reach for him and try to grab him and pet him.
All right.
He won't bite you.
His claim that there's nothing going on is a shocking contrast to his wife's desperate cries that can be heard repeatedly throughout the footage from the crime scene.
Take it down 16.
Got one.
63, we're 21.
Knock
Have
it off.
EMS respond over here.
You're clear, they're being advised.
There were 9 shots fired in total that afternoon. with one of the boys shot once and the other two shot 4 times each. Strangely, he made no attempt to murder his wife or stepdaughter, despite knowing that they alerted the authorities.
You the only one else inside the house?
What?
You the only one else inside the house?
Yeah.
Sit down right here.
My daughter, she ran over to the fire department.
Sit down.
It's my stepdaughter.
Put him in the cage.
Can you get the wallet out of my back pocket?
Shut up, dude. You had the right to remain silent. Can use it.
Doberman disturbingly has no reaction as he marched past their bodies by the police and seems oddly comfortable with the officers apprehending him. But after one night in police custody, reality finally started to sink in. Visibly distressed, Doberman refuses to wear the jumpsuit provided and resists multiple officers as they fit his handcuffs, preparing him for his first arraignment with a judge in court. There he will hear the charges brought against him for the first time and be faced with both media and prosecutors, a realization which hits him suddenly outside the courtroom.
I know. Dad, look at me. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. No, I know. Just take a deep breath for me, okay? I'm going to have your public defender come back and talk to you, okay? And then we're going to go out and we're going to do your hearing. Can you hear me? Do you need a second? Take a deep breath.
With Doberman's former bravery gone, he's clearly petrified and struggling to withhold his panic. Once he regained control of his emotions, an officer explains the process of the initial hearing. He's warned about the media and told to pay attention to the judge alone.
News media out there, okay? When you walk out, you'll see a piece of black tape on the floor. All I need from you is to stand on that piece of black tape, face the judge only, and just listen. They'll say that you have the right to remain silent, and I advise you to use that, okay? Because everything in there is recorded. So I want you, again, just to stand there, look at the judge only. Don't turn to the media, don't turn to anybody in the audience that you may know. Listen to the judge and let your public defender do the talking for you, okay? Do you have any questions for us?
It's clear that Doberman's struggling to pay attention. He may even be experiencing an episode of dissociation, a defense mechanism in which the mind emotionally detaches from its surroundings as a response to intense feelings of stress or trauma. It's not uncommon for criminals in Doberman's position to experience dissociative episodes. This might explain his lack of emotion at the crime scene. After being numb for so long, his nervous system is now being flooded with all the feelings he was holding back. Doberman arrives in the courtroom. The prosecutor lists his crimes in detail, describing this as a case of unspeakable horror.
Judge, I asked the court in setting this bond to just begin to imagine their fear. This was the man that every day they woke up looking to for protection, love, guidance in all things. The man they trust more than any other person on earth. The person they rely upon to keep them safe from harm. He was their world, he was their guardian, and he executed them in cold blood. We know that from his admission.
According to a statement from the murderer himself, it's revealed that this act of violence was not an accident. It was a calculated execution.
To make things even more disturbing, Judge, this was no haphazard act. Again, by his own admission, he planned the events of this day. This did not happen on a whim.
Doberman had allegedly been planning to kill his sons for months, ever since way back to October 2022. It's also reported that he hadn't slept for 3 to 4 days prior to the incident. What continues to confuse both detectives and reporters alike is why he did it. What motive would a father, even an abusive one, have to execute all 3 of his own children?
He's confessed to what I believe is the worst crime, at least I hope, that I'll see in my lifetime. I hope it's the worst fact pattern that ever comes before this court.
At this point, Doberman is visibly crying, which should suggest remorse, but until now he hasn't seemed capable of such an emotion. His vicious character has been confirmed by neighbors, who described him as a man with a temper, who was constantly heard yelling, and was known to be cruel to his wife.
He was just a very angry man. Like, he just was always yelling at his wife and his kids, and you just really don't pay no attention to stuff like that, and then this happened.
This testimony certainly aligns with Doberman's criminal record. As the prosecutor notes, he had one previous charge of domestic violence in 2010.
As his prior record goes, Judge, it is fairly minimal. He was charged with domestic violence in 2010. He is not, to my knowledge, on probation committee control.
However, Doberman's father, Keith, had actually defended his son's character. He went on record saying, "That wasn't Chad standing at the arraignment. I could tell in his eyes, he's hollow inside." Keith himself had no explanation for the killings and said his son simply snapped.
Judge, the facts of this case are hopefully like no other we will ever see. When this case gets indicted in the Court of Common Pleas, I am certain that a no bond hearing will be held, and I would hope that would be granted. But at this point, at this juncture, we're going to ask this court to issue a bond we've never asked for before. I'm going to ask for a bond of $20 million. I hope I never need to request such a bond again.
The prosecutor requested his bail to be set at a staggering $20 million, a tactic to ensure he would appear before court at his appointed trial date, and that he would not be released from police custody before that time. A judge will typically set a bail bond at an astronomical level in cases such as these, where the defendant is charged with a violent crime or deemed a flight risk. It's quite evident here that Doberman has been determined as both. While the facts of this case are continuing to take shape, the prosecutor has gone on record, stating that he sees this as a death penalty case. As such, he wants Doberman executed for his crimes, a fitting punishment for a man who brutally executed his own sons.
That these are men and women with families, children, feelings, emotions. They're not some automaton performing a delegated function. They're people.
It's not yet confirmed what Doberman's sentence will be, but one thing's for sure. This man needs to pay the ultimate price for his inhumane crimes. And if you enjoy true crime content like this, make sure you're subscribed to see more.